Chapter 2, Home to Others and Goblet of Fire. I looked at Hermione and asked, is it really that insane to have such feelings about a teacher? I mean, in a way, yeah, it's mad. But from what I know, you can't always help who you have those feelings for. Do you think I should try and even say anything? That would be up to you and only you alone to make. It wouldn't be insane to think he even felt some type of way, right? Right? In a sense, I guess, since it's highly inappropriate between a student and a teacher to do such a thing, not to mention the bad consequences that would follow, and at the same time, it could leave you feeling lost and confused. It would be bloody mad if a teacher like him did, Ron added. I looked at Harry. What do you think? Anything is possible, I guess. Either way, I wouldn't judge you. I smiled. Thanks, Harry. I guess maybe I should try and get some outside advice to see what I should do. Or if I should ignore and forget the whole thing. The more time goes by, the more it's hard to ignore, and I don't know what to do. After a while, we finally arrived at what we also call home, Hogwarts School of Witchcraft and Wizardry. Nothing changed, but the castle itself was beautiful to see, day or night. It's always the same teachers, except there's a new Defense Against the Dark Arts professor every year. It's almost like it's a curse or something with that teaching position. When we got off the train, Hagrid was there with a big lantern as we all went up and hugged him. I guess to have light for when it gets dark. I asked Harry, Ron, and Hermione if I should ask Hagrid about my crush on Professor Snape to see his opinion and if it was obvious and not hidden as I thought. They all said yes, but it was truly up to me. I trust Hagrid because he's my friend. I asked him gently, Hagrid, can I possibly tell you something I would like your opinion on in private sometime? If that's all right with you, of course. He nodded his head as he looked down at me. Of course. Come by sometime tomorrow before the year gets too busy for you. Dumbledore's got something special planned this year. The next day. A crowd of students gathered around outside the school to witness 4 flying horses soaring through the air, and beyond that were the horses pulling on the carriage. Apparently, the carriage and horses were flying towards us to land here. I was standing by Harry as Hagrid was directing things in the carriage for it to land. He stated loudly, "Clear the runway!" In a flash, the carriage flies right over us. The students are in wow, and Harry mutters to me, "Well, there's something you don't see every day." Yeah, really. I wonder what's going on, I muttered in response. I guess we'll find out soon. Not too long after, we see a big ship emerge underneath the water as it slowly approaches us. All right, so we have a carriage with horses and a big ship both coming here to Hogwarts. Something is surely going to happen this year at Hogwarts. I wonder what it is, but as Harry said, we'll find out soon. Soon after that, all of us gathered in a great hall, sitting with our houses, like always, and waited. I was sitting with all of my friends as we anxiously waited to hear from the headmaster about what was going on. All of us were wondering at this point. I secretly took some quick glances at Snape when no one noticed at all, not even him. I sighed and silently smirked and looked away before anyone noticed. We all paid attention as Professor Dumbledore walked and stood behind his podium and started to speak his speech. Now then, since we're all settled in and sorted, I'd like to make an announcement. This castle will not only be your home this year, but home to some very special guests as well. You see, Hogwarts has been chosen. Suddenly, we heard the door open and saw Filch walk in and up to Dumbledore to say something. I watched closely as they engaged quickly, and Filch soon left the room again. Then, just like that, Professor Dumbledore continued his speech as we listened closely. So, Hogwarts has been chosen for a legendary event, the Triwizard Tournament. For those who don't know, the Triwizard Tournament brings together 3 schools for a series of magical contests. From each school, a single contestant is selected to compete. Now, let me be clear, if chosen, you stand alone. And trust me when I say, these contests are not for the faint-hearted. But more of that later. Please join me in welcoming the lovely ladies at Brutum Maximus Academy of Magic and their headmistress, Madame Maxine. We all turned to watch the large group of girls, all dressed in blue, dancing their way up the room. I looked toward Ron and I saw him staring into the girls. I shook my head as he watched how they walked and he muttered, "Bloody hell." I chuckled as I noticed that they released some butterflies in the air and bowed. At the same time, a big, tall woman walked in and up by Professor Dumbledore and the other teachers. I heard one of the students say, "Blimey, that's one big woman." She was a tall woman. The only one I've seen that's tall like her is Hagrid. We clapped in applause for their entrance and welcome. Afterward, we had our attention back to Dumbledore. "Now, our friends from the north, please greet the proud sons of Durmstrang and the High Master Igor Kogorov." Again, we watched as many nice-looking older boys came and started to walk in. They each had bow staves in their hands as they did something special with them, like tapping them on the ground and twirling them around. After that, in walked another older boy, followed by a man whom I guess was the High Master. "Blimey, that's him, Victor Crumb," I heard Ron say out loud. The boys breathed some fire and were divided in the middle, and the High Master Igor Kogorov walked in between the boys. He went up and greeted Professor Dumbledore with a hug. They seemed delighted to see one another. After a while, as we were conversing and eating, I was sitting beside Hermione when we heard, "Your attention, please." The room got quiet as Professor Dumbledore got our attention again and spoke. "I would like to say a few words. Eternal glory, that's what awaits the student who wins the Triwizard Tournament. But to do this, that student must survive 3 tasks. 3 extremely dangerous tasks. For this reason, the Ministry has seen fit to impose a new rule. To explain all of this, we have the head of Department of International Magic Corporation, Mr. Barnabas Crouch." Out of nowhere, thunder was heard from above as I looked up to see rain pouring down on us. I heard screams coming from other students. I was mad because I didn't want to get wet. I looked at Harry and we both saw a man standing in the distance by the doorway. He shoots his wand at the ceiling as the rain stops falling and there's only quiet murmuring. "Who is that?" I asked. "Bloody hell, it's Mad-Eye Moody," Ron muttered. "Alistair Moody, the Auror," Hermione said. "Oh, I've heard of him, but never seen him in person," I stated. "Auror?" someone asked. "A dark wizard catcher," Ron explained. "He's supposed to be mad as a hatter these days." I watched carefully as Harry watched him too, limping and greeting Dumbledore. We all see him go off to the side and secretly take a drink of something. "What's that he's drinking, do you suppose?" I heard one of the kids ask. "I don't know," Harry responded, "but I don't think it's pumpkin juice." Mr. Crouch started to explain loudly. "After much deliberation, the Ministry has concluded that for their own safety, that no student under the age of 17 shall be allowed to put forth their name for the tournament. This decision is final." We started to mutter and talk amongst ourselves, unhappy about this, and people could be heard booing with Fred and George shouting out loud. I don't know what the rules were beforehand, but I guess that's being a little bit unreasonable. I heard Fred and George booing as George yelled, "That's rubbish! You don't know what you're doing!" "Silence!" Professor Dumbledore yelled loudly to the room as the muttering slowly went down to silence. Watching him, he used his magic over something that turns into a goblet that withholds a pretty blue flame. "The goblet of fire," he started to say. Anyone wishing to submit themselves in for the tournament merely write their name upon a piece of paper and throw it into the flame before this hour on Thursday night. Do not do so lightly. If chosen, there's no turning back. As from this moment, the Triwizard Tournament has begun. I looked at my friends as we looked at each other. This is going to be an interesting year.